Alright, so this is going to be a basic building tutorial for everyone. Big shout out to Floyd for helping me with a lot of the building and just some of the ideas, showing you guys what to do. So right now we're just getting your basic fence design, and if, as you notice, we're leaving some space around the edges so we can either place turrets on the outside, on stools, or maybe on some containers. The big reason for that is turrets only shoot hostiles outside of the property line, so if people start raiding you and your fence is built to the edge of your property, they're actually not going to shoot yet. So this way we can make them shoot people that are getting closer to your base before they even start raiding you. A little more effective on the defensive end. Alright, I'm going to let this play out just so you can see some of the fence placement. Sorry, I'm a little OCD on it, so everything's got to be fairly perfect. And I'm going to let this roll for a minute. Alrighty, and here we are showcasing how you can play a little bit of defensive with this strategy. So, with these benches stacked on the outside of the fence, you'll be able to shoot people that are coming at you. So Floyd over here is going to demonstrate that here in a second. Get some of these turkeys shot. They're a little bit shorter than a player model, so it's harder to hit them. Sometimes when you're moving while shooting, it'll drop that bullet, which makes shooting people on these benches so much easier. But with this, you should be able to defend your base a lot better. Even with this basic design, no turrets, just a single fence, you'd be able to hold off some people. Let this roll a little bit to show you. Alrighty, I have this sped up really fast, but this is the difference it takes to saw down the two different fences in the game. The red one's your garden fence, the brown's your normal fence that you get from combining two pieces of wood together. So you'll notice that the garden fence takes almost twice as long to raid through when you're using a chainsaw. So keep that in mind when you're building your bases. Alrighty, remember when I said about defending the base? Here we go. So someone starts raiding you, you don't have any turrets, but you do have those benches. You can at least start doing a little bit of damage and discourage them from raiding you. Nice little way to buy yourself some time, or at least keep your stuff safe on the inside. Alrighty, and we have this sped up really fast just so you guys don't have to deal with how long it actually takes for the placement on these fences, which, spoiler alert, is a long time. But if you overlap your fences just right, you can get so many more crammed into one space. And with this kind of design, it takes 4 to 5 times longer to raid your base, which buys you that much more time to actually defend it. So I'll let you guys just wait here till we get the finished product. Yeah, unfortunately at this part, realized that I'm building it one too short on my side. So sadly, to keep things symmetrical, you know, I gotta keep the aesthetic of everything. Had to tear that puppy down. Good as gravy though. even go as far to adding another layer over the top of this. We're not going to do that in this video though, just because my personal preference is building things in the sky. So pretty soon I'll show you just a super basic design of how to build your very own sky porch. But this basic design leaves you extra space on the outside like we talked about earlier, gives you that turret coverage, and then some space inside if you want to do some gardening or you want to do the balcony like I like to build. Yeah, ignore my struggles on that placement right there. Takes a few seconds to get that placement right when it's not up and down, but the thick fences is advantageous because it's much easier to walk around on while defending as well. One nice fact about the vending machines in this game is they are completely indestructible, so you can use them to kind of section off a small area of your house too. So I usually try to place them close together, and then it gives me kind of like an invincible spot on the house. And if you place them just outside of turret radius, you're not baiting people to get mowed down by your turrets as they're trying to buy, which could be a nice PvP tactic in my opinion, but I try to make a lot of money off those vending machines, so it's a good business practice to keep it accessible for people. So right now I'm placing stools down, and you can place the turrets on top of the stools. So that way the turrets will shoot 1.5 blocks high, which should hit your player model still if they get within the radius. So when I build my porch later, I'll definitely need to take a few of those down, but just on the basic side, this is an acceptable defense system, and that gets all 4 pointing on the inside, so if someone's trying to door camp you if they do get in, it is still pretty protective. I did forget to mention earlier, but I definitely have 2 code lock gates down there. That way, people have to go through 2 of those to get in. You can even offset it a little bit more if you didn't want as much of a yard, and you can make it 3, 4, 5, 6 deep to get in. You can stack more houses on next to your property to give you more building space, but this is just a quick tutorial with one house, what you can do with it. For these planters, if you stack them 5 high, they're tall enough for you to actually walk under. You can do them as high as 7 high, and you can put turrets and benches under them, even garden fire pits, at least you used to a couple patches ago. And that way you can have a 2-story base, put stuff under, put stuff over. Really cool deal if you play some of the RP aspect of the game, or if you just like building. But I'll leave this running for you, give you a good idea what you can do with some porches. tip I would add, it's usually easier to build from the top down. So my big mistake here is I built the center points to the porch before I built the top left hand side. So this is making my build a little bit more difficult, but I sped it up to about 6 times for you, so it's not quite as painful for you all to watch. Alright, now with the porch foundation built, I can make my staircase up there. So now I'm using the wide fences to my advantage, and then I'm going to build a little staircase up. You can definitely make things look a lot fancier than I'm doing it. I'm just kind of doing it for efficiency's sake, and getting something that makes it still slightly harder to raid. You can definitely play with those rotations to give yourself some good angles. And one thing I would recommend is not doing it all from one side, because you'll end up getting too tall. So eventually I'm going to jump over to that porch, and then build up to it to meet in the middle. This way you're not getting restricted by height limits. Once again, you can definitely make things much prettier than I'm going to leave it, but this was just something real quick I threw together for everyone. If you guys end up wanting more advanced building tutorials, definitely let me know and I can work on something else. But I'll let this play out and just get it lightly decorated for everyone so they can see some ideas. One thing I would recommend against is placing your turrets too high. So I did place them one full block up on that fence, which shouldn't be a problem. They should be able to attack people just fine. But I'd really advise against putting your turrets 2 or 3 high, because sometimes that kind of lags out the bullets or it shoots them at a higher plane than the player will be traveling. So a lot of times I try to keep it at 1 block max, but with the stools 1.5 blocks it usually works really well without destroying your turrets. Most items can be placed on top of the stone slabs, so they make really good building areas. So here you get some garden fire pits, you can be nice and warm, get your health up, especially if you're in a snow biome, and you can just start decorating stuff too. fortify your base with turrets, portable generators are a must. They do give you plus 40 energy and you'll have to sustain them with fuel. And people can build up and shoot at you on these porches, so I would recommend layering them with fences. That way it's a lot harder for people to raid through. And this just, and then what I am doing here on the side too, is I'm doing fences too high to protect those benches from being shot down from the sides as well. People can shoot them down if they do use enough bullets to get through one of those garden fences. Those fences take so long to shoot from, so it's not super efficient with your bullets. This way you are a lot more protected, and a lot of your resources will be saved. Anything in the game is raidable, but this way you can be one step ahead. Alrighty, thank you guys for watching, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. Have a great one.